Good morning and welcome to the Daily Blue. This is Livin Tru Blu this morning with Karin and Caro, and unfortunately we do not have Donna here today, but we do have two very, very lovely guests, Zinn and Jennie Villano. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you.
Thanks for having us.
We are here to talk about how you live life true blue. And the premise of the show is basically to hear and understand how people have found ways to feel thrilled, feel excited with their life. And I don't know you very well, Michael. However, we will when
yes,
the show
absolutely.
ends. We were talking about, I think that we have a lot of synergies,
yes.
and I'm excited about that. But Jennie, I know you for a long time.
Yeah.
And you emanate Livin Tru Blu. I mean, that's why I really wanted you to be a part of what we're doing here. So one of the things I want to talk about is how we met. I know your dad a long time, and I have a funny story about your dad. I told it the other day in the studio here to the girls, so forgive me, girls, for repeating myself, but I met your dad at H2O, and a good friend of mine, Louise Tedisco, introduced me to your dad. I meet him at H2O, and the first thing he says to me was, wow, you have star power. I mean, your dad has a way of uplifting people, and was he always like that?
Yeah, he was always very good at making you feel good about yourself. I think that's where I get it from. We always see the positive side of everything as opposed to the negative. We always see good in people, and it feels so much better to point out something positive that you see in someone than something negative. And a lot of times I think that people see something positive in someone that they meet, but maybe they don't feel secure enough, or they don't feel comfortable to say it. And he absolutely does, and he has absolutely given me the same type of personality where I like to lift people up.
And your mom, though, is very positive.
Yes, she is.
She's a wonderful, wonderful person. But you, as a family, have had a severe tragedy, losing a brother in a car accident. It's how many years now that you lost your brother?
It was 15 years in July. But I have to say that with my family, I think that, you know, in life, anything bad, things that are bad are going to happen to us all the time. And it's very important not to let these things happen in vain. Right. And even something so horrible as a death of someone that you love so truly, whether it's your child or your sibling or your spouse or whoever it may be, a lot of people would just, you know, you'll talk to people and they'll say, well, if that happened to me, I would just die.
Sure.
And I think that it's very important to find something good out of anything that happens to you in your life. So for me, what I took out of losing my brother, was that I learned to live my life to the fullest. I find that people who don't know loss so closely, they think, oh, it'll happen to someone else, and they don't really take in the moment.
Sure.
So when I have my children, I take that extra minute to look at them. I appreciate things that aren't so material.
Right.
Just the most simplest, you know, action throughout the day that you would overlook.
Sure.
I don't tend to overlook as easily because of it. And really just, I always said he didn't get a life because he died at 17. So I want to live for him. So, you know, he was so full of life, like my father is.
Right.
And all the things that he would want to do are the things that I try to get out and do.
Right. And you have another brother who is an architect, isn't he?
Yeah,
right. And he's a doll.
He's very successful. He's handsome. He's very talented.
What a wonderful family.
Yes.
I mean,
and my sister is.
Oh, I never hear about your sister. Where is she?
She's the genius in the family.
Okay.
She has all the brains, and she works with my father right now. She's doing hypnotherapy, and she's in her master's program.
Wow.
Yeah.
So she's taken that.
Yeah.
Wow, that's crazy. Now, where did modeling come out of nowhere? Because I knew you for a long time, and then all of a sudden, wham! You were this face everywhere. It was last year in December, and I was on Facebook, and a gentleman, his name is Copper Mike, he had requested me on Facebook. He sent me a message, and he said, I love your look. You are perfect. He said, and I have a bike. It's called Steampunk, and David Ewell's a very well-known artist. Right. And he wants to paint my bike, and we need to find a model. And he told me, I don't pick the model, but I want you on my bike. Wow. So, and I have to tell you, I was completely taken back by it. And my response was, I'm a 37-year-old mother. You know, I'm not a model. And you never did model. You never did anything. I mean, everyone that knows you.
No, I've acted before, but I've never modeled.
Really, you acted?
Yeah,
where was that?
At Caro's Playhouse.
Okay.
And I got great reviews, and I had a lead in a play. I did 15 shows.
Oh, that's cool.
But,
I didn't know that about you.
Yeah, I love to act.
All of a sudden,
that's my real passion. So he said, please, just send your photos in to the artist. And so I did, and the artist chose me.
Wow.
And I was
What a
shocked.
moment.
Yeah.
What a moment.
And everyone in that room, he was part of it too. He was the photographer that took the pictures for the artist, to take and make into a painting. And no one in that room realized what we were a part of, something so great and so big.
You were just taking a picture of a bike at that point. But then that turned into a whole work of art for the bikers, for women that nobody knew who you were, and all of a sudden here's this beautiful woman. And tell me how the two of you met then.
That was actually how we met. A friend of mine
on the set.
On the set, yeah. A friend of mine who was a photographer called me and said she wasn't 100% comfortable with
Mama Dukes,
the responsibility, and as well, she also wanted to model on the bike. So she called me and she said, "Hey, can you take the pictures?" And I went down and I met Copper Mike. He was great, and I met Jen and. The energy on that set, and again, even though we didn't know what it was about to become, the energy was amazing. We bonded and shoot a lot now together, and it created it was the beginning of something.
Do you have the beginning picture of this beginning something?
You
don't have that?
No, I don't have that one, unfortunately.
It was phenomenal.
No, there was about 600 photos, and he kind of just collaborated them and then that it together the way that he wanted to.
Right. But it was really incredible. So what took off from there? Because that was an amazing.
Well, that was a slow evolution as far as steampunk, because he finished the painting and he sold it within a week or two for $65,000. And then
Can you imagine?
There was a limited number of giclées, and they're all sold out. They sold out within a few months, and they tripled in value. So it kind of, it started here, and then it evolved over to Europe.
Right.
And like some gentleman in, I think, Sweden or Switzerland has me tattooed on his arm.
Wow.
He didn't put the bike, but he put
has
me.
you.
Put me from that
how
painting.
does it feel to be in people's houses as a work of art?
It feels so amazing. And even this year, David Jewell made it his Christmas card.
Wow.
And that was an honor. It is very much an honor.
Jennie.
And it's not even going anywhere, It's like the momentum of it is kind of just doesn't stop. It just keeps going.
Very
the
organic.
picture was very, very unique. And did you do anything in your photography to make it unique? Because the colors are different.
I think there's an element of my style of photography, certainly.
Even his angle.
Yeah.
You tend to go.
Yeah.
And that's how you pick the angle.
But as far as the painting, that was really David Jewell, who was such an amazing guy. That was also part of the experience, was meeting him and being a part of that. But I do have, not with me of course, I do have a set of images that I took from that shoot and created this steampunk fantasy with, so on my website and stuff. But
and we really all were a part of that, because he did the photography. I brought that outfit to the set.
That seems like something that you would have worn for Halloween,
That's
Jennie.
in my closet.
Right?
And that's my red skirt, my corset.
It's adorable.
And then Janine had come in and she did, my braids and my hair. Well, the braids I had actually done from Halloween. That's the picture that Copper Mike had seen me on.
Right.
So we already knew he wanted the braids, but she figured out how to pull it back and up. And,
Really
we really all worked together
Yeah.
to get my look right on point. And for me, color is so important, and depth and texture.
Right.
And that's why I brought those colors. I wanted it to be strong
so
and
you
different
shared
texture.
the vision. You got it.
Yes.
And that's what really made it a
Producing
success.
the shoots is fun to me. Like even this shoot that Mike and I did, this retro shoot. I knew this girl Gina for years since she's a little girl. She always dressed very retro. Her makeup's always on point. So I said to him, I found a location. I have a great girl for makeup. She got someone for hair, and she brought in clothes.
Right.
Because that was her style. So it's fun just for me to even produce and pull it together,
I love
and I have a vision.
I love things like that also. It just makes you feel like you're, part of something amazing.
And not just the model, because I do like modeling, and it's fun. But my passion is, I'm very creative.
Sure.
And my mother's an artist, and my brother's an artist, and I just come from a creative family.
Yeah, you are.
So the producing part, I really love, and acting I love. I really like to be more creative than just modeling. So I can't just stand there and pose for you, you know.
Right,
I have to kind of be more involved, you know.
Yeah,
that,
absolutely.
Right?
No, the biggest thing I think that came out of that shoot was the whole concept of collaboration and how important that is to me, and really how it just hit that nerve, and everything, when you are in a good collaboration, everything seems to fall into place.
Right.
So the shoot Jenny's talking about, she called me and had this location, and I had no idea what it was to even expect, and I showed up and we just did a killer shoot with, you know, the diner pinup, and Gina, the girl she's talking about who came to do makeup, ended up modeling as a waitress in the scenes, and they became they became very much like acting. Awesome. It was a lot of acting, and my style isn't just to take a picture of a woman. Of course, I love to take pictures of women, but I like to create a scene. I like to have somebody look at the photo and try to figure out what's going on, what's the story, you know.
And this story is obviously like taking you back in time. This is, and what is this for?
This was just for Jenny's portfolio, and
actually,
it turned out I have a concept called Dirty Girls, which is DRRTYGRRLS, and it's an homage to the old school pinup style. But in each scenario, the girl is dirty. In other words, so maybe she's in a garage and she has some grease on her face.
But she's a painter and she has paint on.
Right, exactly. So it's you know,
a play on words.
Exactly. It kind of lures you in, and then you're like, oh, I get it. It's
good.
You know,
it's all good.
Yeah, it's all good. Yes, exactly.
That's good.
Exactly.
Because this is a family show. Okay?
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
But tell us about this. Is this a calendar?
This is another project of his.
Okay.
Sure.
Talk to us about it.
Women of Armageddon is a concept that I came up with in 2012 because the world was supposed to end.
Right.
And I just kind of, I got a kick out of the hype of all of the apocalypse theories. And I said to myself, well, what would happen to the Sports Illustrated calendar if that was to happen? So I kind of mashed up in my head Mad Max, Planet of the Apes, and the Sports Illustrated calendar. And I spoke to Jennie Villano, who is the makeup artist who helped me bring the concept to life. And it was really amazing because just the idea of the calendar brought so many people. She had some friends who worked in the different...
this is amazing.
They worked in the different...
really incredible.
Haunted houses on Long Island, and they were into performing and costumes. So everybody who came into the picture really brought an amazing energy, and the project just organically came to life.
Okay, so now where can people find this calendar?
This is at womenofarmageddon.com.
Okay.
And you can find the calendar.
And I'm October.
And you're October. Let's check out October. Okay. So tell us, since this is a show about living your life true blue, how you live your life true blue. I mean, obviously you're an artist. I am, and it's actually interesting. I've kind of recently come to terms with that, the fact that that's what I am, and that's what I like to do. I've worked in different capacities in the corporate world, and I just found that going after what I like to do was really made me the happiest. I also am a musician, so getting involved, I play bass. Okay.
But getting involved in the different projects is, I mean, when I'm playing music is when I feel most alive, and when I'm doing the photography and manipulating the images and creating this alternate world, you know, it really is rewarding. And
isn't it beautiful when you really finally feel like you have figured it out, what you love to do?
Yeah, absolutely.
And it's thrilling when it's not about the money, and I know you a long time, and you're just loving what you do every single day.
Exactly.
And all of a sudden, though, the money is coming. I mean, that's a beautiful thing.
Absolutely.
You're living and loving what you do every day, and it's not about money. But I think money will find you when you follow your heart.
Absolutely.
Well, because then you put everything that you have into it.
Sure.
You know, like
and
you know when you're doing things out of safety or security. Like if you have a job out of security, and you know, and it pays, and you know you can pay your bills every month, and you know you'll get the kids through life and get them in their soccer and everything, and that's okay. But when you're doing something that you're passionate about, it excels itself, and anything in life.
But it took you a while. I mean, Jenny, just quickly, because this is very important, I think, for our women viewers to understand. I know when you were soul searching, I knew you then, and you were searching, and we just couldn't find it for you. Remember, we have had many conversations where we're like, Well, event planning
What am I
would be
gonna
great.
do?
Real estate, because you're gregarious and you're very sweet and you're...
I have so many degrees. I have so many certificates. I've been to college for so many years, from philosophy to history, real estate, paralegal. I have everything.
Right. And you could do it all.
Yeah.
But there's no heart in it.
No, there was no heart in it.
What are you gonna do?
I love to be creative. So now that I found it, I feel such a greater peace in my life.
Sure.
Because a lot of times, you know, we look for a job and we're either working for someone else or we're fulfilling someone else's dream.
Right.
You know, or
It's
we're just
not
putting
worth
off our own. No, and finally I found something that's mine.
Yeah.
No one can take it away. And it fulfills me.
That's right. But don't you think as a woman even that we go through stages where we're stuck, you know, not, and I shouldn't say stuck as in a negative way, because I enjoyed very much spending that time paying attention to the lifting up of my children, and lifting them up, I mean, in spiritual and the help and what
giving them a good
blood
foundation.
and sweat of what they put, but you're not thinking of yourself, so you're in that moment of that.
Yes.
And there's something thrilling, I think, and I'm loving what I'm doing right now, as you could say, but there's something thrilling about saying, wow, I just really love this, and finding it.
Yep.
But it doesn't always happen right away. So
No.
just, I think really your message is?
My message would be that if you have something that you believe in, you know, I think that we all know what we really want in our lives, what jobs we want, what people we want around us. It's just fear. And so you have to just, there's a great quote that I love, the only way to conquer fear is to look it in the eye. So don't be afraid, and if you have a dream, don't think that it's too big for you or you're not good enough for it, whether it's in your career, your love life, your personal life, anything at all.
Do it.
If you want it, you go get it.
You know, I was leading you into that, but that was good. I was not, right, Michael?
Absolutely. No, absolutely. And I kind of saw Jennie go through that too, and it's great to even be a part of it.
Right.
And even go through it myself. You know, when I came up with the calendar, the idea of the calendar, it was just an idea in my head for probably a good year and a half until I shared it with somebody who then said, well, why not do it? And seriously, it was 2011, it was November.
Yeah.
And I had to get the calendar out for 2012, and we were in Arizona visiting my parents, and we got back to New York, and in a month I shot 12 girls, did all of the layout for the calendar and got it ready.
Wow.
Yeah, and the amazing thing about that, relating to what you're saying, is in the end I was holding this calendar and I said, wow, I just came up with this, and look, I did it. I believed in it, and I just did it.
And you went with it. I love that.
Yeah, it was a real lesson for me, and as far as always hearing your whole life, you can do anything you want.
Sure. And
it's not until you actually try it and actually put that effort in and that you see it happen.
Sure.
And yeah, it was amazing.
Well, I am so thrilled to have you both here with us today.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm thrilled to have learned a lot from you today, and I am so happy that our viewers get a chance to see the struggles and also the love, and the excitement and the growth. It's just a wonderful thing. So thank you for sharing your stories today.
Thank you.
Will you guys be back? Because there's so much more to talk
I would
about.
love
It's going to be a good year. We'll be
Yeah.
back.
Thank you for sharing your stories, and thank you all for joining us. I really appreciate it. Thank you for living your life true blue. If you'd like to be on our show or you have a show idea, please call us 631-337-1603. You can find us on Facebook at The Daily Blue, or you can even find us on Twitter. We're all over the place. We're out there. So join us next time. We will see you. Actually, we'll be back in a few minutes with another program.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks, Jennie. Thank you, Michael.